Okay, so another aspect of amnesia, right, that was shown by patient HM is the fact that there's a sort of temporally graded retrograde amnesia and, pretty dramatic anterograde amnesia. That means that they have, in terms of the anterograde or forward direction, from the point of surgery, that HM had, he could not transfer experience from working memory into longer term stores following the removal, significant portions of his hippocampus and medial temporal lobe. But he also lost memory, for events and experiences in the retrograde direction. That means before the actual surgical procedure, but it was temporally graded. That means that, he lost more experience, the closer you got to the actual day of the surgery. If you went back further, he actually, could remember more, right? And of course, with HM, very, very remote memories, like where he was born, who his parents were, things like that, did remain intact, even with the removal or damage to the hippocampus and medial temporal lobe. So the object discrimination task is a task that's sometimes utilized to, examine the temporally graded retrograde amnesia that's associated with damage to the hippocampus and medial temporal lobe. So in this, macaques, let's say monkeys are trained on these object pairs. They have to discriminate these object pairs. So, if I give you, the monkey, a pipe cleaner neuron and a 3D printed brain, they'll be rewarded for picking the 3D printed brain, right? And then, I'll do 99 other pairs of objects I'll, train, the macaques on over, let's say, a 4-month period, right? And so, they learn 25 of these pairs during the first month, then 25 during the second month, 25 during the third month, and then the fourth month, and then at the end of the fourth month, they have the surgery, either a sham surgery, where they just, open and do something, but not the hippocampus medial temporal lobe, and then the actual experimental group, which gets, removal of the hippocampus and medial temporal lobe. And then, at post-surgery, they test them for their memory, basically of these object pair associations. And just like an HM, who lost, more memory, the closer you got in time to the day of his surgery, these macaques also do worse at, discriminating these object pairs if the pair associations were learned, right before the operation. And as you go back, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, etc., they do better, in the, further out in the retrograde direction. So they also exhibit, based on this experiment, a temporally graded retrograde amnesia, a loss of memory, from before the actual injury. In this case, sort of experimental surgical injury. In HM's case, it was they were trying to help him, but they removed his hippocampus and amygdala. So basically, and medial temporal lobe. So they lost this reflects what HM's experience was, in that the word associate or the pair associations that were learned closer to the actual surgery were lost to a much greater degree. Those memories were lost to a much greater degree than those pair associations that were learned, several months before the surgery.